Brilliance Audio.
Trivial Pursuits by Elizabeth Hayley. Performed by Lola James and Teddy Hamilton. I'd gotten up to get another drink at the bar, leaving our group of friends to hang out at the yard, the additional outdoor space and deck attached to Rafferty's that Drew ran. Since they'd put outdoor heaters up, the place was still crowded even in the colder weather, and the bartender took a few minutes to get to me. I ordered another margarita with extra salt and asked Reed to add it to our group's tab. Owen, who'd followed me to the bar, asked him for another IPA, and as we waited for our drinks, we turned back toward the yard to take in the action around us. Groups of people, mostly college age, laughed around tables or gazed at each other longingly from across intimate high-top booths. There were even a few customers who looked to be older than us, still in business attire. Had they come here for a drink after work and found themselves still here hours later, ties loosened and sleeves rolled up, holding their sixth bourbon and thinking about how they were getting home? Reed came back a moment later with our drinks, and I started to walk back toward the gang. "Hold up a sec," Owen said, putting a hand on my arm and then quickly taking it away. When I turned around toward him, he was leaning against the bar, bobbing his head like he could hear some sort of music I couldn't. "What's up?" I asked. "Nothing," he said way too casually to be believable. "Just thought we could hang here for a second." Why is this guy so strange? I'd never met anyone quite like Owen. I didn't know him well, but he seemed like a puzzle I'd never be able to put together because some pieces had gone missing. He was usually super chill, but tonight I sensed an edge to him that he couldn't quite cover. I'd always been a good read of people, and most of the time my instincts were spot on. I liked to think it was a sort of sixth sense I'd been born with and honed throughout the years, but it probably had more to do with the fact that my family's connections and dealings weren't always on the up and up. I'd been aware of some shady shit and interacted with enough sketchy people to pick up on mannerisms that indicated when something wasn't quite right. And tonight, I'd gotten that vibe from Owen more than once. "You seem nervous or something," I told him. "What's going on?" It was possible that Owen was simply attracted to me. I'd gotten that vibe, too. But tonight he seemed distracted. Shrugging, he pursed his lips a little before saying, "I'm fine." "Okay," I said, not completely convinced, but not wanting to force the subject. "I'm gonna head back then." I started making my way back to our group. "V, hang on." With a sigh, I turned around to see Owen barreling like a bull in Madrid through a group of guys crowded near the bar. I half expected one of them to shove him or at least yell at him to watch himself. Instead, when they'd caught sight of who'd caused their sea of dude bros to part unexpectedly, their broad shoulders and puffed-out chests relaxed a bit. Owen excused himself after he'd come out the other side, and the group immediately returned to discussing their protein intake or arguing about which brand of t-shirt had the tightest sleeves. And that was when I realized Owen's superpower. He was basically the human version of a labradoodle. Despite whatever trouble he got into, people couldn't help but like the guy.